Great. So the recording has started. I'll just present my screen. Last 10 minutes I will reserve for any revision or anything that you would want me to repeat from the last session. In case there is anything that you would want me to repeat. Someone had said that they want me to repeat the let function. Oh, I will reserve for the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or maybe 10 minutes after the session is over. So you can stay back. You can ask your doubts. For now, we'll be working on this folder, data cleaning and preparation. Please open that folder. And in that folder, please open 3.3 problem. Please open 3.3 problem. Everyone, in the data cleaning and preparation folder that you have downloaded, please open 3.3 problem. Please come to the very first sheet. This left, right, and mid. Please come to the first sheet, which is left, right, and mid. 3.3 problem is the file. Is everyone on the file? Can we start? Great. Okay. On my screen now, everyone. Now, a lot of times what happens is you have a lot of data in a single column. You have a lot of data in a single column. So you might want to use a lot of functions to extract the data. You might want to have or use different functions that allow you to extract that data from a single column. Now, a lot of times what happens is the data जो column में है, that might be of the equal length, which means that every cell here, every cell over here, the text in each of these cells is of the same length, same character length. To check if the text is of the same character length, I can use a function called equal to len. The function is called equal to len, and it takes only one argument, which is the text. And when I press enter, it will tell me the length of the text in that cell. Right? I'll copy the formula down. And in this case, across all the 13 cells that I'll be working with, the length is exactly 11. The length is exactly 11. Right? So this is the len function. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is the task is that from this data that is there in B5 to B15, the 10 rows, I want to extract the first 3 characters in a different column, the middle 2 characters in a different column, and the last 4 characters in a different column. So for that, for the first task, first 3 letters, I can write a function called equal to left. Right? Now, the left function returns a specified number of characters from the start of the text string. From the start will be from this side. So now, first argument is what cell do I want to refer to? In this case, it is B5. The second argument is number of characters, how many characters I want to extract. In this case, I want to extract 3 characters, so I will have to hard code the number 3. I will have to hard code the number 3. Formula is fairly simple. You put in the text and then the number of characters that you want as an output from that text. Right? Left will always start from the start of the string. It will start extracting or extract from the start of the string. Okay. The function is called left. The function is called left. Now, if I come to column E, where I have to extract the product ID number, which is the last 4 characters, right? The last 4 characters. Now, in that case, I can use another function which is called write. Like I say equal to right. I'll not be admitting anyone now. Yeah. Equal to right. I'll say B5, and the number of characters that I want to extract is 4 in this case. So everywhere it is consistent. So I can hard code that number and ensure that in all the rows when I copy the formula, the answer will be 4 itself. The answer will be 4 characters itself. Right? So that is what the write function will do. The right function starts from the end of the text string. The right function will start from the end of the text string. So this is left and right, fairly simple, where your data is consistent. Remember, whenever your data is consistent, in that case, extraction becomes very easy. In that case, extraction becomes very easy. Now, if I want to extract the middle two characters, which is PH, CH, CO, CH, TABO, CHAR, etc., right? In that case, what I need to do is I need to use another function which is called equal to mid. The function is called, you start writing equal to mid. It returns the characters from the middle of a text string given a starting position and a length. Because Excel by default cannot understand what is the middle point in that cell in the text, you will have to specify that. So I'll say B5 first because that is where the text is. Now, in this case, I need to specify where do I want to start extracting from. So TEC is 3 characters, the dash is the 4th character, and P is at the 5th position. So I want to start extracting from P. So I want to start extracting from the 5th position. So I'll say 5. And how many characters do I want to extract in this case? I only want to extract 2. So I'll say 2. I'll close my bracket and I'll press enter. Just drag these formulas down. This is what these 3 functions can do for you. Please try this. Very simple example because the data is consistent. Remember, the formula is very easy now because the data is consistent. Okay? Because the data is consistent, which we checked using the len function that I just wrote as an example in column A. That I wrote as an example in column A. Okay. Let me know once you're done. Then we'll go to the next one. We'll wait for a minute and then I'll go to the next one. Those are done with this one can come to the next sheet, which is left, right, mid dynamic. Left, right, mid dynamic. Any questions in this? Do let me know. In the first example, if you have any questions, do let me know. In the first example, if you have any questions, do let me know. If all of you are done, then we can come to the next one, which is left, right, mid, and dynamic. Left, right, mid, dynamic. Now again, I'll come here and I'll say I want to look at
Excuse
the
me, sir.
G.
Sir, could you please explain the mid statement again?
G. So what the mid function allows you to do is the first argument is the text itself, which is exactly like the left and the right. Next argument is start number. In the mid function, when I know that I want to extract the middle 2 characters, how do I explain that to the formula? Right. So the formula gives me an argument where it says if you tell me which position you want to start extracting from, I'll be able to extract from that position. So TEC is 3 characters, the dash is the 4th character, and P is the 5th character. I want to extract for in this cell, for example, I want to extract P and H, right? I want to extract P and H. So I'll say I want to start extracting from the 5th position. So from P till what point? Till 2 characters. So P and H comes as an output. So here 5 is what position I want to start extracting from. So it will include that position. So the number of characters that are currently extracted are 2, which is the 5th and the 6th character, 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 which is the 5th and the 6th character. I hope that clears it up. Perfect. Please come to left, right, mid dynamic. And like all the other folders, this folder also has the relevant PowerPoint.
Excuse me, sir.
G.
So do we need to write the formula all the time?
As
I
in,
mean, if we need to differentiate the text, we have the option text to column in a data.
you can use
Can we
text to
use
column
that?
also. Yeah, you can use text. You can use text to column. Text to column will not write the formula for you, but you can use text to
Yes.
column as well. Yeah, like I said, every file will have a PowerPoint. So in the PowerPoint, you can like you have all the relevant examples, screenshots. What does the function mean? उसका definition, उसके arguments का definition क्या होता है? इस तरीके से. So whatever you've done here, there's a PowerPoint also, and like all folders, there's a solution file as well. There's a solution file as well. Now, in this case, I want to extract the number of characters, but my length is not dynamic. How do I know that? When I say equal to length and I calculate the length over here, I can see that some of the cases it is simple 11, some of the cases it is only 11, but rest of the cases it is not same. Rest of the cases it is not same. Rest of the cases it is not same. So the functions for this are quite complex. The functions for this are quite complex. So a lot of times you might not be able to build such complex functions, although they're purely logical, although the functions are purely logical, right? But in this case, you are much better off using a different feature in Excel, which is called flash fill, So what that feature allows you to do is, again, the feature flash fill will not write a formula for you. The feature flash fill will not write a formula for you. It can only take a sample. So now this might not work on all your versions. 2013 किसी के पास अगर है या उसके बाद वाला कोई वर्जन है तो वर्क करेगा. In the data tab, in the data tab, you zoom in the data tab towards the right in the data tools group, you have this option called flash fill. The shortcut is Control E. How can I use that feature? So what I need to do is I simply need to give a pattern. For example, if I need to extract the first three characters in this case, I can give a sample to Excel. I can say I will give you a sample, and you can press Control E to get the output. For example, if I give a sample from row number 2, if I say FUR and I press Enter and I press Control E, it completes the extraction from all the cells for me. Please have a look again. I can give a sample from any row. I can give a sample from the first row. I can give a sample from the second last row over here. Right? That will not make a difference. When I give a sample and I press enter to paste my text there, and I press Control E, it is going to extract everything for me. So now here, if you see, in case where there was only TE mentioned and some places there were TEC mentioned, it was able to detect a pattern and give you the output. Flash fill is a temporary output. It is not writing any formula for you. As you can see, whatever sample you give, it is a one-time extraction. So this feature is called flash fill. Now for the first characters, it was okay. Now, how do I get the middle characters? Now, some cases it is just two characters, which is PH, CA, but other places it is like a larger word. So now you have to carefully choose which rows you want to give your samples from. For example, now if I give my sample from the first row and I press Control E, it is able to identify, because even in this data, the delimiter is very clear that I'm extracting from between the two dashes. Okay. A lot of times when your data is even more complex or even messy, in that case, it is not going to be very useful. In that case, you might have to give more than one pattern also. But यहाँ पे, like you saw, I gave a sample from only one row and I pressed Control E, which is a shortcut for flash fill, and it was able to extract the output for me. Now, in the last example, where I want to extract the ID number, now again, यहाँ पे कहीं ID number is 4 characters, कहीं 2, कहीं 6 characters, right? So you can give your sample from any one row that is not consistent. Let's say I give a sample from 5, 3 from here, and I press Control E. It is able to detect the pattern and give me the output. It is able to detect a pattern and give me the output. Please try this example. Please try this example because we'll not be spending time on the formula for now. Okay, that is something that we can do later on, but because it's going to take a lot of time and it's unnecessarily complicated, I'll also show you how you can generate formulas like this from GPT. Obviously, you need to understand what the formula is doing for you. You need to have an understanding for that, what the function does, what the pattern is, what the formula is doing for you. But for now, you can use Flashfill. For now, you can use the feature called Flashfill. Please try this example. Please try this example, everyone. Once you're done with the example, do let me know. Okay, great. Now, Flashfill में ना, I will not take you through all the exercises, but 3.2 जो folder है, 3.2 जो folder है, उसमें बहुत सारे examples हैं अलग-अलग variety के for Flashfill. बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं अलग अलग वैरायटी के फ्लैशफिल. फ्लैशफिल का बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट यही है कि आप पैटर्न दोगे और आपको आउटपुट देगा. इट विल नॉट वर्क ऑल द टाइम. यू माइट नीड टू गिव मोर देन वन सैंपल इन सम केसेस, राइट? व्हेन इट वर्क्स इट इज वेरी गुड. व्हेन इट डजंट वर्क इट विल नॉट वर्क. You will never know what is the machine, what is Excel trying understanding from your pattern, right? Because it is like a black box. You will never understand how it is working. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But for quick extraction, it is very useful. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे बहुत सारे examples हैं Flashfill के, and in the PowerPoint also, in the section 3.2 and 3.1, 3.1 नहीं 3.2 में ही फ्लैशफिल का जो जो एग्जाम्पल है उसका स्क्रीनशॉट भी यहाँ पे है. लिटरली हर शीट का एक स्क्रीनशॉट यहाँ पे, और जो नोट्स है वो भी यहाँ पे. तो फ्लैशफिल आप कैन गो बैक एंड प्रैक्टिस. ओके, वी नॉट बी स्पेंडिंग टाइम ऑन फ्लैशफिल. It's a very easy feature. It is more about experimentation, right? So we'll not be spending time on Flashfill. You can go back, you have all the notes. कुछ doubt है आपको तो you can obviously, a lot of you have been sending me messages personally, so you can do that as well, or you can ask me questions in the next session. You can ask me questions in the next session. Now, please come to the sheet called irregular length. Please come to the sheet called irregular length. Please come to the sheet called irregular length. And now if I have to extract the name, I can also use Flashfill. I can also use Flashfill, or I can use a formula as well over here. I can use a formula over here as well. Right? So Flashfill तो बड़ा simple होगा इस case में. I can simply say the first name, press Control E, and it will give me the first name. I can press the last name, press Control E, and it will give me the last name. But we'll also look at the formula. We'll also look at the formula once. So if I have to write a formula here to extract the first name and the last name, what is the logic that I can use? What is the logic that I can use? If I want to extract the first name and the last name separately in two separate columns, what is the logic that I can use? Put it in the chat as well. For last print after space, correct. Okay. So for everything before the space, that is what I want to extract. Everything before the space is what I want to extract for the first name, and everything after the space is what I want to extract for the last name. Okay. This case में, I'll have to use a function called find. I'll have to use a function called find. Now find करता क्या है? Find, let's say if I have my name here, okay, and if I say equal to find the position of L in this, so it tells me that L is at the third position. It tells me that L is at the third position. So find tells you the position of the character from a cell. So if I say find, and यहाँ पे I want to know the position of the space, I can say in double quotes I literally have to put a space. In double quotes I literally have to put a space. Where do I want to find it? In this cell. I close my bracket, and I get the answer, which is 6 in this case, which is 6. How is it 6? Aaron Aaron is 5, and the space is the 6th position. Now, since I want everything before the space, right? I want the number of characters before the space. I can simply say in all these cases, जहाँ जहाँ पे ये नाम आ रहा है, I'm getting the position of the space. I want everything before the space, so I can simply do a -1. I can simply do a -1. So now, when I do a -1 from this formula, it tells me the exact position or exact number of characters, that are before the space. Now, in my left function, जहाँ पे पहले हमने hard code किया था कि I want 3 characters, 2 characters, 5 characters, this formula will be supplied into that argument where I have to put the number of characters, because this formula will recalculate the characters for all the cells automatically. This is the output or logic that we have defined. So now I can say left B5, put a comma, and in the number of characters argument, this formula, which is finding the space and then telling me number of characters before the space, will be the one that will get supplied into the number of characters argument. And when I press enter and drag the formula down, it will correctly extract the data from, or the first name from all the cells. It will correctly extract the first name from all the cells. Please try this, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Let me know if you want me to explain it again. I'll do that as well. Correct. All of you said the space. That logic is absolutely correct in this case. Once this is done, I'll show you how to do it for the last name as well. Sir, why to use this long method if we have to use flashfill? It's better to know the formula as well, because a lot of places you would want to know the formula as well. एक चीज को करने के 2 तरीके 3 तरीके हो सकते हैं. आपको तीनों अगर पता है, एटलीस्ट अवेयरनेस है, तो इट विल बी इजी फॉर यू. कहीं कहीं फ्लैशफिल काम नहीं करेगा, कहीं कहीं आपको फॉर्मूला ही लिखना पड़ेगा, जो डेटा बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स होगा. उस केस में यू वुड वांट टू यूज अ फॉर्मूला. एंड लाइक आई सेड, फ्लैशफिल में once it is extracting the data for you, you don't know what is the pattern or the logic that it has applied. आपको पता नहीं होता है. In that case, you would want to know the formula as well. ठीक है. So, Mama, I hope that answers your question. Perfect. Now, if I want to extract the last name, can you guys try to write the formula for this? You can try to write the formula and you can put it in the chat. If I want to extract the last name, or rather than writing the formula, first tell me the logic. Now, when I want to extract the last name, so which function will I use? Find to छोड़ दो. Left use करूँगा मैं या right use करूँगा? Will I use left or right?
Right plus 1.
Sorry?
Right.
Right plus 1.
Okay. So, can you tell me the
Right
formula?
plus 1.
हाँ, एक बार फॉर्मूला बताइए. मैं लिखूंगा इक्वल टू राइट, फिर क्या लिखेंगे?
Fine.
Sorry? 5. B5. Okay. And how will I get the number of characters for the last name? कहीं पे 5 है, कहीं 6 characters हैं, कहीं ज़्यादा हैं. कैसे करेंगे?
Find quote space and the cell name plus 1.
एक बार इसमें डाल दीजिए chat में. I couldn't hear you. Those are things they have the formula piece. You can put in the chat. We'll have a look. ठीक है. तो जिन लोगों ने len minus find यूज किया है, that is absolutely correct. And this formula will not work, because when you do a write, when you're saying find space plus 1, okay, when you're saying find, since the length is not dynamic, because कहीं space का position less है. Why is it working in some cases? Because last name का character length ज़्यादा है first name से. उस केस में ये वर्क करेगा. अगर आप आउटपुट देखो, राइट, उस केसेस में ये वर्क करेगा. बट जहाँ पे it is the opposite, or in some cases that will also not work. So the answer which is given by len minus find, this is Musharraf and Faraz. The answer is correct. I'll just tell you why it is correct. फॉर्मूला को दो लाइन में ब्रेक करने के लिए ऑल्ट एंटर दबा देना है। फॉर्मूला को दो लाइन में ब्रेक करने के लिए ऑल्ट एंटर दबाना है। तो सबसे पहले क्या करना है हमें, हमें लेंथ निकालना है पूरे टेक्स्ट स्ट्रिंग का, हमें लेंथ निकालना है पूरे टेक्स्ट स्ट्रिंग का। तो आयरन का लेंथ आता है 13, आयरन प्लस स्पेस प्लस बर्गमैन इज 13 कैरेक्टर्स, और उसमें से हमें स्पेस का पोजीशन माइनस करना है, उसमें से हमें स्पेस का पोजीशन माइनस करना है। तो 13 माइनस, in this case it is 6, will give us the length of the last name, will give us the length of the characters which is the last name. तो यहाँ पे when I say len minus find position of space, right, length of the entire text string minus the position of the space, it leaves me with the number of characters after the space. This leaves me with the number of characters after the space, because since I'm starting from the right, doing a find plus one will not be very useful. Space plus one will not be very useful in all the cases. This is the formula that we'll be using, wherein we say we want to find length of the entire text string and subtract the position of the space. That will leave me, this entire string will leave me with an answer which is 7, and that is what I want to extract from each of the cells. That is how it will be able to calculate dynamically. फॉर्मूला को दो लाइन में ब्रेक करने के लिए ऑल्ट एंटर, फॉर्मूला को दो लाइन में ब्रेक करने के लिए ऑल्ट एंटर। प्लीज ट्राई दिस एवरीवन।
Sir, I'm getting the result with +1 also in the last. I've put my formula in the chat. If you could check.
जी काशिफ?
Yes. Getting result with this also.
Sure, let's have a look. Oh, that +1 is not required, no? I'll show you the difference. Do you see, जब आप +1 कर रहे हो ना, उसमें एक एडिशनल कैरेक्टर आ रहा है which is nothing but a space, which is coming after.
Right.
और स्पेस आ जाएगा तो फिर उसके बाद आपको फिर फ्रेम लिखना पड़ेगा, which is one extra step. So that adding that additional space is not required.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, remember, it is not about all of those who are able to write the formula, absolutely fantastic. It is not about writing the formula in the first attempt. If you're able to identify the logic and you're aware कि ये right, left, find in function से हो सकता है, then you'll eventually be able to figure it out. But आपको अगर logic नहीं पता होगा तो आप formula build नहीं कर पाओगे in whatever example you're working. Please try this, then we'll go to the next one. Please try this, then we'll go to the next one. Please try this, then we'll go to the next one. Perfect. Now, please come to substitute. Please come to the sheet called substitute. Okay. ये concatenate, concat और text join are fairly simple. मैं दिखा देता हूँ, practice नहीं करेंगे, मैं दिखा देता हूँ एक बार, ये practice नहीं करेंगे, unnecessary waste of time है ये functions, but I'll just show you. ठीक है, तीन फंक्शन होते हैं बेसिकली एक्सेल में अगर आपको डेटा को कंबाइन करना है, ठीक है। मैं एक ही शीट में तीनों एग्जांपल दिखा देता हूँ, आप लोग देखिए, फिर इसके बाद जो हम नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल करेंगे वो सब्स्टिट्यूट होगा। तो यहाँ पे मेरे पास तीन कॉलम्स है, मुझे तीनों को एक में कंबाइन करना है, ठीक है। तो concatenate, concat and textjoin, मैं तीनों दिखा देता हूँ आपको। Textjoin is a relatively new function, concatenate is also relatively new, concatenate is the oldest. So when I say concatenate, ठीक है, when I say concatenate में the problem always has been that I cannot select a range of cells, because I don't know if I had mentioned earlier about dynamic arrays, but Excel में क्या होता है, one concatenate objective is to get the data from multiple columns into a single cell, from multiple cells into a single cell. When I select a range of cells in concatenate, right? When I select a range of cells in concatenate, right? It will spill them into 3 different columns because Excel does that. Excel में अगर आप मैं equal to 3 cells करूंगा तो उसको by default वो 3 cells में spill करेगा. तो concatenate अभी ये करता है. पहले क्या करता था? It would have given you an error. पहले concatenate would have given you an error. पहले concatenate would have given you an error. So concatenate में आपको अगर multiple text strings को join करना है तो आप text string को choose करोगे. अब मान लीजिए आपको फर्स्ट 2 के बीच में कोई डिलिमिटर डालना है, जैसे यू वांट टू पुट 2 डैशेस, तो आपको डैश डालना पड़ेगा, फिर आपको नेक्स्ट सेल चूज करना पड़ेगा, फिर कॉमा डालना पड़ेगा, फिर आपको डैशेस डालने पड़ेंगे, फिर आप लास्ट सेल चूज करोगे. ऐसे करोगे आप कंकैटिनेट, ऐसे करोगे आप कंकैटिनेट. आपको फॉर्मूला भी दिखा देता हूँ. रिमेंबर, कंकैटिनेट कैन नॉट select a range of cells. Concatenate cannot select a range of cells. That is the crux that you can take away from this. Concatenate cannot select a range of cells. Now coming to concat, coming to concat. Now concat में क्या है? If I say equal to concat, इसमें आप इंडिविजुअल सेल्स भी सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो, रेंज ऑफ सेल्स भी सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो. बट अगेन इसमें डिलिमिटर आपको मैन्युअली डालना पड़ेगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मैं फर्स्ट 2 cells B5 और C5 को सिलेक्ट करता हूँ, I put a comma and then I put a delimiter like this and then I say I want to select the last cell now. Okay. तो ये अलाउ करता है. Concatenate allows you to select a range of cells. So लेकिन उसके बीच में ऑब्वियसली स्पेस नहीं आएगा बिकॉज आपने कोई डिलिमिटर डिफाइन नहीं किया. अगर आप डिलिमिटर डिफाइन नहीं करोगे, एक रेंज ऑफ सेल्स को चूज करोगे, तो एज इट इज कंकैटिनेट होगा विदाउट एनी स्पेस और विदाउट एनी डिलिमिटर इन बिटवीन. विदाउट एनी स्पेस और विदाउट एनी डिलिमिटर इन बिटवीन. ठीक है, विदाउट एनी स्पेस और विदाउट एनी डिलिमिटर इन बिटवीन. ठीक है, तो कंकैट में आप रेंज ऑफ सेल्स को सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो. कंकैटिनेट में यू कैन नॉट सिलेक्ट रेंज ऑफ सेल्स. But in both of these, concat and concatenate, you have to specify the delimiter manually every time you want it. Last is text join. Last is text join. Text join क्या करता है? Text join में सबसे पहले आपको डालना है डिलिमिटर. तो अगर मुझे 2 डैशेस डालने हैं, सबसे पहले मैं दोनों को डाल दूंगा. ठीक है. सेकेंड आर्ग्यूमेंट बाय डिफॉल्ट आप स्किप कर सकते हो, विच इज इग्नोर एम्प्टी. अगर आपके डेटा में कहीं भी एम्प्टी सेल होगा जिनमें से आप कंकैटिनेट कर रहे हो, तो अगर आप ये आर्ग्यूमेंट स्पेसिफाई नहीं करोगे ट्रू या फॉल्स और स्किप कर दोगे, तो बाय डिफॉल्ट वो उसको ट्रू एक्सेप्ट करेगा. बाय डिफॉल्ट क्या करेगा? ट्रू एक्सेप्ट करेगा. और लास्ट में आपको टेक्स्ट डालना है. सॉरी, लास्ट में यू हैव टू चूज द टेक्स्ट. नाउ इन टेक्स्ट join you can either choose all 3 together, and the difference is that when you choose all 3 together, since you have specified the delimiter earlier, since you have specified the delimiter in the first argument, unlike concat where if you choose multiple cells कोई delimiter आता नहीं है बीच में, text join में when I since I'm specifying the delimiter in the first argument and I select a range of cells, तो उन पूरे range of cells के बीच में delimiter automatically आ जाता है. delimiter automatically आ जाता है. delimiter automatically आ जाता है. ठीक है, this is concatenate, concat and text join. इनके 3 सेपरेट शीट्स हैं, आपको प्रैक्टिस करना आप जाके कर सकते हैं, बट नथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, और एक तरीका दिखा देता हूँ कंबाइन करने का, which is literally using the and. So I can say this and let's say मुझे delimiter डालना है and let's say this. अगर मुझे ऐसे कंबाइन करना है तो मैं ऐसे भी कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन यहाँ पे आप रेंज ऑफ सेल्स नहीं डाल पाओगे. यहाँ पे आप रेंज ऑफ सेल्स नहीं डाल पाओगे एंड में. ठीक है, एंड के थ्रू जब आप कंकैटिनेट करोगे, आप रेंज ऑफ सेल्स एज एन इनपुट नहीं दे सकते हो, क्योंकि वो उसको एक सेल की जगह मल्टीपल सेल्स में स्पिल कर देगा. एक सेल की जगह it'll spill it in multiple cells. Yeah, this is the example. Please have a look. If you have any questions, let me know. To combine data from multiple cells into a single. If there are no questions, you can come to substitute. Yeah, you can come to the sheet called substitute. You can come to the sheet called substitute. Come to the sheet called substitute. So Excel has some other functions also that allow you to replace or substitute a part of a text string. दो अलग-अलग function है, एक है substitute, एक है replace. We'll have a look at both of these. Perfect. I'm assuming no questions in the previous one. So when I say substitute, when I say equal to substitute, what the function does is replace existing text with new text in a text. मतलब किसी भी सेल में कोई भी जो टेक्स्ट है आप उसको रिप्लेस करके किसी और टेक्स्ट के साथ डिस्प्ले कर सकते हो. फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे B7 में if I want to replace the dots, if I want to replace the dots, so I'll have to put a dot in double quotes. I have to put a dot like this in double quotes, comma, and let's say I want to replace the dot with a dash. I have to do it this way. ये 3 आर्ग्यूमेंट्स मैंडेटरी होती है. किस टेक्स्ट में आपको चेंजेस करने हैं, क्या हटाना है, किस चीज के थ्रू हटाना है, व्हाट इज द रिप्लेसमेंट, एंड लास्ट आर्ग्यूमेंट होती है इंस्टेंस नंबर. So for example, in each of these cells, the dot is appearing 2 times. So in the current cell B7, there are 2 instances of the dot. So it is asking me, do I want to replace the first instance, the second instance, or the instances? So when I say only one, when I say one, वो क्या करेगा, जो पहला डॉट है उसको रिप्लेस करेगा, जो पहला डॉट है सिर्फ उसी को रिप्लेस करेगा. When I say 2, वो सेकंड डॉट को रिप्लेस करेगा, पहले डॉट को एज इट इज लीव कर देगा. आप यहाँ देख सकते हो, it is only replace the second dot. And if I do not specify that argument, it will replace all the instances of the selected text. It will replace all the instances of the old text. It will replace all the instances of the old text. तो सबसे पहले आपको आपका सेल चूज करना है, फिर आपको आपका ओल्ड टेक्स्ट डिफाइन करना है जिसे आप रिप्लेस करना चाहते हो. Then you have to define the new text that is going to replace the old text. लास्ट आर्गुमेंट में if you are dealing with instances, कि आपको सिर्फ फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस चेंज करना है, इन दैट केस यू विल यूज इंस्टेंस नंबर आर्गुमेंट. अदरवाइज आप थर्ड आर्गुमेंट के बाद ब्रैकेट क्लोज कर दोगे. रिमेंबर, एनी टाइम एन आर्गुमेंट इज इन स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट्स, anytime any argument is in square brackets like this, like instance number, in that case you can ignore that argument. It is a non-mandatory argument. It is a non-mandatory argument. It is a non-mandatory argument. Now, what replace does is replace part of a text string with a different text string. Replace part of a text string with a different text string, which means इस पूरे text में what I can do is I can replace, let's say in this case I want to change the first 3 letters to TEC. I want to change the first 3 letters to TEC. तो मैं पहले text को choose करूंगा, जिस text में मुझे change करना है, ठीक है. Then I'll come to my next argument. I'll say I want to start replacing from the first character and I want to replace 3 characters. तो यहाँ पे since I'm saying that I want to replace all the characters everywhere with just TEC, तो जहाँ पे भी FUR लिखा हुआ है या OFF लिखा हुआ है, मुझे वहां पर भी TEC चाहिए, तो फॉर्मूला को मुझे बताना पड़ेगा कि पहले कैरेक्टर से शुरू कीजिए एंड गो थ्रू 3 कैरेक्टर्स, टोटल ऑफ 3 कैरेक्टर्स. एंड इन द न्यू टेक्स्ट I say I want TEC, I can say I want TEC and I can close my bracket, press enter, and when I drag these 2 formulas down, let me just do it for the second one. So कहीं पर भी अगर कुछ और लिखा था, जैसे यहाँ पे FUR लिखा था, यहाँ पे इन सब सेल्स में, तो वो रिप्लेस हो गया है विद TEC. That has been replaced with TEC. That has been replaced with TEC. That has been replaced with TEC. Please have a look at this example. Try this. If you want me to repeat the example, do let me know. Yeah, someone raised their hand. If you have a question, you can ask.
Sir, if I were to replace like all these 3 numbers starting, like all these 3 letters from the starting with some other, with some other letters, like which is not in the list or in the data.
No,
Then how do I
you
do
can
this?
replace with anything. वो TEC तो example है. आप वहाँ पे 1 2 3 लिखिए तो हर, या 1 2 3 लिखो तो हर जगह 1 2 3 आ जाएगा. वो तो एग्जाम्पल है कि TEC लिखना है. It doesn't have to be from the text. आप डबल कोट्स में कुछ भी टेक्स्ट लिख सकते हो यहाँ पे. I can write 1 2 3. I can have ABC written. तो हर जगह ABC आएगा फर्स्ट 3 कैरेक्टर्स के लिए. क्लियर?
In substitute, when we enter the instance, suppose if we enter 2 as the instance, so it will only replace the second dot.
Instance. Yes, second
or
dot.
first or second. Only
Sorry?
the second one.
Only the second. If I specify the instance number, तो वो second वाली को ही replace करेगा, as you can see here. अगर मैं instance number, if I don't specify that argument, then it will replace all the instances. So by default, it assumes that you want to replace every instance. By default, it assumes that. But if you specify the instance number, then it will replace only the instance that you have specified. Okay. Please try this example, everyone.
Sir, what is the
What is this? What C stands for in the formula?
basic difference?
So मामा आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है. What's the significance of 3? What does 3 stand for in the formula? So replace में ना, my task is that I want to replace the first 3 characters. Okay. तो मैंने specify कर दिया कि कहाँ से शुरू करना है मुझे. So when I say 1 means that it is going to start from T, and I have to replace a total of 3 characters. So I say start from 1 and replace till up to 3 characters. That is why I have to specify 3 in this case. That is why I have to specify 3 in this case. And I say that I want to replace the first 3 with this. So 3 is the number of characters argument कि मुझे कितने text, कितने characters को replace करना है, मुझे कितने characters को replace करना है. That is what 3 is doing. Madiha. Anyone else, any questions? ठीक है. Please come to the next sheet, which is char. It's called char, which is for character. Char, which is for character. Which is for character. Please come to that sheet. And now here, this is a very interesting example. बहुत बार होता क्या है, डेटा आपका आता है सिस्टम से, आप कहीं से डेटा कॉपी करते हो, maybe from PDF, and a lot of times some unwanted character comes in that cannot be removed from a trim as well. That cannot be removed from a trim as well. जैसे इस केस में क्या है, each of these cells has a line break. Each of these cells has a line break. Now if I have to get this in or data from all the cells into a single line, हर जो 3 lines में broken है उसको मुझे एक ही line में करना है उसी cell में. I have to use a function called, I'll essentially use substitute only. But I need to know what I want to substitute. So please have a look. जैसे मैं C1 में आ जाता हूँ, I'll double click and I'll press Alt Enter. Alt Enter is for creating a line break. अब इस सेल में मैंने Alt Enter डाला है, ये आपको visually तो दिख नहीं रहा है. But when I use a function called code and I input C1, it tells me that यहाँ पे जो भी आपने character define किया है, उसका code is 10. So Excel में every character has a code. If I say remove this line break, I don't know how I'll remove that line break now. Shift Enter. तो अगर आप कोई कैरेक्टर डिफाइन नहीं करोगे, अगर एम्प्टी सेल है तो 13 आ जाएगा. जैसे ही मैं स्पेस डालता हूँ, स्पेस का अलग कैरेक्टर आ जाएगा. अगर मैं अपर केस ए लिखता हूँ तो उसका अलग कोड आएगा. अगर मैं लोअर केस ए लिखता हूँ तो उसका अलग कोड आएगा. अगर मैं एक फुल स्टॉप लिखता हूँ उसका अलग कोड आएगा. सो एवरीथिंग इन एक्सेल हैज अ कोड. एवरी कैरेक्टर इन एक्सेल हैज अ कोड. तो ऑल्ट एंटर का जो कोड है वो है कैरेक्टर 10. तो यहाँ पे हर जगह जो जो कैरेक्टर इज सेपरेटिंग और ब्रेकिंग दिस टेक्स्ट इनसाइड द सेल इज एन ऑल्ट एंटर व्हिच इज अ लाइन ब्रेक. उसका कोड मुझे पता चल गया, इट इज अ कोड 10. So what I need to do is I need to say substitute. From this text character 10. Now यहाँ पे आप कोड नहीं लिखोगे. कोड है पता करने के लिए कोड क्या है, जो आपको फॉर्मूला में सप्लाई करना है, आप लिखोगे कैरेक्टर with what, nothing. So I'll put it at double quotes. अगर आपको कोई डिलिमिटर चाहिए तो आप डिलिमिटर डाल सकते हो. इंस्टेंस नंबर मुझे सारे रिप्लेस करने हैं तो मैं एंटर दबा दूंगा. दिस विल ब्रिंग माय डेटा इनटू अ सिंगल सेल. I first identified what is the code for the line break, because uske bina I'll have to go to each cell and do it manually, which is not a very efficient approach. So I first identified the code for the line break, and once I had that code, then I went ahead and replaced it using the substitute function. Okay, please try this, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Please try this example, everyone. Once you're done, let me know. Then we'll go to the next one. Next one is also something similar, where you have a unwanted space and we want to replace that. Let me know once you're done with this. Then we go to the next exam. We'll go to the next exam. Done, guys? Okay, I'll turn to the next one then. Perfect. Now I'm on the next sheet, which is character with undefined space. Character with undefined space. Okay. Now, the issue is that again, when data comes in from PDFs, right, or when you've copied or pasted data from somewhere, some unwanted character or unwanted space might get created. Some unwanted space might get created. तो इस केस में यहाँ पे आप देखोगे B14 में sum function लगा हुआ है, but it is not able to give you the total result. It is not able to give you the result. It is showing as 0. And if we deep dive why it is happening, if you double click on any of the cells, यहाँ पे आप देखोगे some additional space is there, right? Some leading and trailing space is there, right? Some leading and trailing space is there. Now in Excel there's a function called trim. Just copy this here. In Excel there's a function called trim, but trim जो है वो क्या करता है, normal spaces को हटा सकता है. ट्रिम जो है वो नॉर्मल स्पेसेस को हटा सकता है. तो मैंने यहाँ पे D14 में भी एक सम फंक्शन लिखा, बट आप देखोगे ट्रिम भी यहाँ काम नहीं करेगा. ट्रिम भी जो है यहाँ काम नहीं करेगा. एंड इफ आई कॉपी एंड पेस्ट द डेटा समवेयर एल्स, even then that space is still remaining. So the trim function is also not very useful in this case. The trim function is not very useful in this case. So what I will have to do is I have to identify ये जो additional space आ रहा है ये क्या है. ठीक है, मुझे सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि जो स्पेस आ रहा है ये क्या है. So I'll say left of B2 and I'll close my bracket. जब left function में ना आप number of characters define नहीं करते हो, so by default it will extract the first character. Now when I say left B2, I don't get any result. It is a blank cell because यहाँ पे जो space है, that is what is being extracted. The space obviously you will not be able to see. You will not be able to see the space. Let me also show the formula at the top. Now मुझे जब left से first character मिल जाता है, मैं इसका कोड निकालना चाहता हूँ. मैं इसका कोड निकालना चाहता हूँ of this character. It tells me that this is a code 160. If I just show you, like I was saying earlier, in Excel, no, everything has a code assigned with it. Everything has a code assigned to it. So यहाँ आप देखोगे, there's a large table. Obviously, you don't need to know everything, but like a full stop, a forward slash, a 0, 1, everything has been assigned a code. तो अभी जो हमें code आया, which is 160, अगर आप code 160 in Excel डालोगे, this is a non-breaking space. It is called a non-breaking space. Space में भी types होते हैं. This is a non-breaking space. ठीक है. तो हमें इसको replace करना है. हमें इस non-breaking space को replace करना है. तो मैं करूँगा substitute from this text. I'll just break it into 2 lines. Old text क्या है? जो मैंने यहाँ से output निकाला, that is my old text. अब that becomes my old text. And new text में let's say I don't want anything, so I will leave it blank because मुझे तो सिर्फ number चाहिए ना. मुझे सिर्फ number चाहिए. And instance number argument भी मैं blank छोड़ दूंगा because I want to replace all the instances. Because I want to replace all the instances. Right? Because I want to replace all the instances. Now, anytime you use a text function, आप substitute, replace या ऐसा और कोई text function use करते हो left right में, जो output होता है वो text होता है, जो output होता है वो भी text होता है. तो अगर मैं इस फॉर्मूला को अभी भी ड्रैग करूंगा, मुझे रिजल्ट नहीं मिलेगा बिकॉज इस फॉर्मूला का जो आउटपुट आता है बाय डिफॉल्ट वो टेक्स्ट होता है. तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, एक फंक्शन होता है वैल्यू. वैल्यू फंक्शन में आप कोई भी टेक्स्ट डिफाइन डाल दोगे, टेक्स्ट इनपुट करोगे. जैसे इस पूरे फंक्शन का रिजल्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट कोड लेफ्ट का रिजल्ट इज 1 नंबर. नाउ इफ आई सप्लाई दैट नंबर टू द वैल्यू फंक्शन, if I supply that number to the value function, it's giving me an error. Why? Did someone raise their hands? Just give me a second. So once I have this and I say equal to value, it is not giving a result. Okay, we'll use a different method. So what we'll say is, and if you want to make this formula shorter, तो ये जो कोड वाला बिट है जहां पे मैंने लिखा था लेफ्ट of this cell and I wrap that inside the code, set code. तो ये आप एक डिफरेंट सेल में कर सकते हो, डिफरेंट कॉलम में, ताकि ये वाला जो आपका फॉर्मूला थोड़ा सा छोटा हो जाए. तो यहाँ पे जो ओल्ड टेक्स्ट है उसमें आप लिख दोगे कैरेक्टर और इस सेल से आप चूज कर लोगे राइट लेफ्ट से, आप चूज कर लोगे लेफ्ट वाले सेल से, आप चूज कर लोगे लेफ्ट वाले सेल से. ठीक है, तो जो कैरेक्टर 160 लिखने की जगह आप उसको लेफ्ट वाले सेल से रेफरेंस कर दोगे. एंड इफ आई ट्राई वैल्यू नाउ, hopefully it should work, otherwise we'll have to use a different approach. Now if you try to write the value function and you drag the formula down, it will give you the correct sum. It will give you the correct sum. Now data cleaning में ना ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज हो जाता है कि अगर आपको कुछ पता ही नहीं कि वो कैरेक्टर क्या है तो आप उसको रिप्लेस कैसे करोगे. That's why we have lot of these examples. जो हम कॉर्पोरेट में भी यही जो कंटेंट मैं आपको करा रहा हूँ, मैंने कल ये गॉडफ्री फिलिप्स में कराया, कल मैं चायोज में जा रहा हूँ वहाँ कराऊंगा. कंटेंट यही होता है. एंड जो आप एग्जाम्पल्स कर भी रहे हो, these are examples that people face in corporate because a lot of times you have to copy data from a file, copy data from a PDF, move around, get data from some system, and in all those cases ये सारे challenges आते हैं डेटा क्लीनिंग में. इस केस में लोग क्या करेंगे, people will say मैं कंट्रोल एच करता हूँ, मैं कॉमा लगा के I'll say replace the commas, I'll say okay, I'll close. देखो लेकिन मेरे कॉमा हटाने के बाद भी वो रिजल्ट नहीं आता है बिकॉज यहाँ इशू कॉमा नहीं है, यहाँ इशू जो है वो एडिशनल स्पेस है, वो एडिशनल स्पेस है. And me right now you can say that why don't I just go to these cells and remove. You can do it for I don't know 10 cells, but how will you do it for 100 cells? In that case you will have to use a formula. In that case you will have to use a formula like this, जहाँ पे I'm saying that in I have a formula here also once again. In C I'm finding out what is that additional space. तो जब मैं left के B2 निकालता हूँ, that will give me the first character, and then I supply that to the code function. So it tells me what is the code for that non-visible, non-breaking space. Then I supply this 160 into my old text argument, and new text में I just put 2 double quotes without any space in between, which it will assume that nothing. So I don't want to replace it with a value. It will leave it as blank. And then when I drag the formula down, it will give me the correct sum. It will give me the correct sum. Give me the correct sum. Please try the example, everyone. Please try the example, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions. This is the last example that we'll be doing. This is the last example that we'll be doing. And don't drop out of the call. I have to discuss something. एक बार example हो जाए, then I'll just share what I want to discuss, and then we are good to go. Let me know if you have any doubts in this one. I'll repeat the example. Done? Great. Great. Now, there are a few other examples also available here. I would request you to go back and practice them. Okay. Again, like I said, PowerPoint में हर example का screenshot along with the solution is available. Right? There are some additional complex examples which are in 3.4. If you want, you can practice those as well. If you have any doubts, you can come back and let me know. Right? So this is for your practice before we meet in the next session. And this was the 4th session. Once we do 5 sessions, फिर मैं ना एक additional revision session रख लूंगा किसी दिन 6 सेशन के पहले. तो उसमें आई मे बी फ्लो टू गूगल फॉर्म और समथिंग. तो आप मुझे बता देना किस टॉपिक्स में आपको डाउट है, आप कौन सा टॉपिक आप रिपीट करवाना चाहते हो, या कोई स्पेसिफिक एग्जाम्पल. तो हम उन्हीं एग्जाम्पल्स को दोहराएंगे. ठीक है, उन्हीं एग्जाम्पल्स को रिपीट करेंगे, प्रैक्टिस करेंगे बिफोर वी स्टार्ट विद द 6th सेशन. Because now what is remaining essentially is pivot tables and VLOOKUP after we finish text functions. So those are the two important ones that are remaining. And उनमें दो सेशन चले जाएंगे. Pivot table में I will need 2 sessions with all of you, and in VLOOKUP also I'll need 2 sessions with from all of you. Apart from the content that I'm covering, if there is any other topic that you would want me to cover, please you can let me know on the group itself. We can see if we have time and feasibility to cover those topics. Secondly, after we do like 7 sessions, I will give all of you an assignment. Okay? It's going to be fairly simple. It will not be something which is Excel based. कोई formula या ऐसा कुछ लिखना नहीं होगा आपको. You will have to, I think it's 60 of you, right? अगर आप 60 लोग हो and I give you 5 minutes each. It's 5 hours. So what we'll do is we'll maybe break you into groups of like 3 rather than doing it individually. मैं आपको एक problem statement दूंगा. Wants to join the call now. मैं आपको एक problem statement दूंगा. उसके ऊपर you will have to create a PowerPoint and you will get 5 minutes and you will be presenting. तो अगर आप लोग 60 हो तो we can break you in groups of we'll essentially have 20 groups if we break you in groups of 3. Why are people joining the call now? We'll break you in groups of 3, ठीक है, and list है हमारे पास, आप online coordinate करके कर सकते हैं. And then if I have to give you 5 minutes, that's 1 and 2 hours we can spare. तो किसी भी एक दिन और किसी भी 2 दिन हम लोग देखेंगे. So we'll come on the call. Each of the groups will get 5 minutes to present, and whatever topic I decide for you, आप उस topic पे present करें. ठीक है? Perfect. Any questions? Acha. Now those who have doubts from the previous session, you can stay back. You can put your doubts in the chat, and next 10-15 minutes I'll solve those. If you don't have any questions, you're free to drop out from the call. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, cool then. Thank you.